Hi, good morning, you beautiful people. Today, we're going to talk about this injury right here. This was my knee a few years back. I broke the plateau of my tibia. However, this exercise or this video is going to be fantastic for any knee surgery where people are struggling to rehab to the level that they want to be at. We're going to use my paradigm of this movement, mobility, strength, flexibility, and lifestyle system. And today, we're going to go through the movement, strength section, if you will, but also the flexibility, because often what I've recognized is due to the level of rehab we don't get, often we're not moving correctly, therefore the muscles start to get very short due to the lack of movement. So if that sounds like something you are struggling with, then this exercise, this stretch in this video is perfect for you. All right, so the strength of the movement exercise we want to do here is a typical lunge, depending if we need the support and how low we can go, but I want to focus on two different things. My surgical leg is my left leg, so when it is in front, not only do I want to do a natural lunge, sure, of course, all the way down if I can, so split lunge, but I also want to see if I can start driving my knee over my toe. Now, knees over toes, guys, is fantastic. I like his exercises. I think he's got great ideas. However, in this case, we're going into it a little bit differently. I believe that there's scar tissue in your knee, and a lot of times the scar tissue acts like a rubber band, if you will. And so as the scar tissue is crossing over the knee, so to speak, imagine if you had different rubber bands, some small, some long, some extremely long. Well, as we begin to move in a normal position, walk, this, bend, whatever, flex the knee, we're going to start breaking some of those rubber bands. However, what I recognized in my knee was towards the end, as I really started going into this extreme position, I kept feeling some last pieces of scar tissue that would slowly get better the more I did it. So what I think happens is, I'm going to take a break on my knee here. As I go into this extreme knee flexion position, if you will. Imagine if you had a very long rubber band. Well, the only way you break a rubber band is by extending it beyond its natural limit. So the very, I would say, last 10% of the scar tissue in the knee, let's say, is going to be these very long rubber bands. So while the knees over toes program is fantastic to strengthen all these muscles, which I think are also important, I think in our case, due to our surgery, it's very important we get into these extreme positions to, yes, strengthen the muscle, but also break those bands of scar tissue, if you will, adhesive tissue. And at the same time, when we make these muscles, I should say, stronger muscles fight better, in my opinion, against scar tissue. So the muscles are getting stronger, but we're also breaking up that old adhesive scar tissue that we need to get rid of. When you move your other leg to the back, often when we walk downstairs, this is what kills everybody. This is a great way to practice this position right here, because your foot and your knee are in the same position as you do when you're walking downstairs. So often, again, my surgical leg was my left leg. This was more difficult than the exercise you just saw me do, because this is a very interesting position for the foot and the knee and the hip to be in, with the body weight and pressure within the knee, if you will. This is not a very natural position, so to speak. So often this is the more difficult one for people to strengthen in breaking up that scar tissue, which ironically, going into this one, into this extreme position, will help this, I think, A, because of the strength, of course, but also due to the adhesive tissue in the scar tissue being broken up. So again, depending on where you are, you might need two things to hold on to. At the beginning, I used to use my crutches on this, or you might be able to get to a point where you're able to even bring the heel up in this position, completely come forward, even with weights maybe, and when you come back and you're driving this knee forward, you can play with the position of your back leg also for the same concept behind the scar tissue. All right, so this is the goal, and before you click away, I don't want you to be here yet. This is just the goal that I want you to imagine getting towards. What I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with the extreme version here. I've got all my little toys here to help, because I want to get into knee flexion, but many times the ground is a bit painful. That's why I have this pillow here, and me sitting on my heels is way too much. So in a position like this, I can have a chair, a table, something next to me so I can support myself, and also find a position that's a bit uncomfortable, but one that I can breathe and relax in, because at the end of the day, we need to stretch this scar tissue so we start to get the range of motion that we need back in our legs. Now, in certain countries and states and wherever, certain lawsuits can be filed when someone doesn't have more than 120 degrees degrees of flexion in the leg, because that's what you need to pedal a bike. So our goal is to not only reach the minimum, but it's to get back to as much as we can, because the more we have, the better our knee functions, and the better our knee functions, the more you can get back to life. So from here, if I'm able to kind of move around my broken leg with my left leg, so kind of move towards my left. I remember when I first started doing this, it was actually this area down on my ankle here, so I'll show you a picture there. That was on fire when I slept, that woke me up in the evening, and that in this area I felt like I was tearing when I stretched, and that was just basically due to the surgery and the inability to move for the first 4 or 5 weeks. The ankle area, the tibialis anterior, so this muscle here, really became short and extremely painful on me. So my goal was to work on my flexion and get it lower to where I was able to move something away like this. So I'm going to reach, grab this yoga block, these two here, stack them together, put them where my butt is, because then I can sit down, and now I'm a little bit higher than I would be if I was sitting on my heels, and this allows me to begin to work on lowering myself down and getting greater knee flexion. Now again, if this is too much of a jump from the yoga wheel to something like this, then you can turn the block like this, and now you're a little bit higher. Maybe not the most comfortable way to sit, but you're not going to be here all day, so don't worry about it. And from here, again, I kind of want to focus on my surgical knee. It's okay if it's uncomfortable, it should be a little bit. The problem is a lot of the orthopedic surgeons, even the very good ones, will tell you that extension, so getting the leg to straighten out to 0 degrees, is the most important thing, which is true, but I think we often underestimate how important it is to start working on this flexion as soon as possible. Once we get the doctor's orders that it's okay, the sooner we get it back, the more malleable the knee is, and the more our nervous system is going to work with each other. So I can't explain enough how important this is. Now, as you're able to take the pillow away, that's always great, because then you're able to get a little bit more into deeper knee flexion, and that will happen when your knee is no longer as sensitive as it was right after the surgery. At the beginning, I couldn't even get in this position because bone is the most sensitive tissue in the body, and here I had 6 screws and a plate in my knee. My bone was on fire, so there was no way. So the pillow really helped me get onto the floor in this position. And as I slowly started to open up and get better, I was able to go in lower positions to where now, when I bring it completely away, there's more of an advanced stretch where I take my feet out. I'm gonna go into that in another video, but right now I want my heels to line up with my sit bones, if you will, because that acts as a nice braking mechanism for my legs, and even from here, I can start to rock back and forth. I can bounce, as you saw me showing the brakes, if you will, from my butt to my heels, and this is a fantastic position we really want to get into, because it's gonna open not only our deflection of our knees, if you will, but it's also going to give us a very good position within our lower leg and ankle bones, or ankles if you want to say it like that. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to watch that video. Please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out either A, the online consultation with me if you're too far away to get into my office, or the online programs. This is not some like 30-day challenge. These are programs specifically built with hundreds of videos that go into the why, the how, fun anatomy, and exactly what you need to do to take care of your problem. I spent a lot of time on these videos and in these programs because this is what got me pain-free, and I know it can do the same with you.